Hey guys, what's up, and welcome back to Tactical Tuesday. Today we're going to be discussing slicing the pie. I had a subscriber ask if I could go into it further, so let's dive into it. But before we do, I want to say a special thank you to Rain City Tactical out of Kent, Washington. Thank you for sponsoring the channel, as always. And if you guys are in the Kent area of Washington, please go check out the Rain City Shooting Center. Tell them that John sent you, and they'll take care of you. With that said, let's dive into this. So, slicing the pie. It's a really simple concept. It's basically when you're going to clear an area and you have a hard point to work off of, use the edge of that hard point as like your apex to clear that area per the angles that are given. So let's say that you have a room here. All right, we'll start with a room. If you're headed this direction and you're coming up, you're kind of holding just off this wall. You're going to initially gain this angle, which is a narrow angle, right? So you're gonna hold this angle and get ready to clear this room. So slicing the pie is sectioning off the room in your mind, kind of to allow you to like make sure you're clearing the whole room, right? Again, this is really simple. So once you gain the narrow angle, you're going to want to basically come over to the other side, right? And as you do that, you're gaining more and more info, right? So maybe this is 45. As I get up to here, I'm getting to my 90, right? Or once you're here, you're almost totally exposed to the fatal funnel, right? Like this is the fatal funnel. This is, your likelihood of taking contact. So this is your 90. As I get up to the middle, I can actually start to see past, right? And as you're noticing, you're seeing all these points hinge off this apex, right? And then so forth and so on, all the way to the other side. So once you have cleared this whole thing visually, then you can kind of decide, okay, well, like, am I going to make entry? What's the next step? Did I take contact at that point? Lots of other things to consider, right? We're not talking about making entry, we're just talking about slicing the pie. So this is generally what people refer to when slicing the pie is room clearing. But really slicing the pie can be used in all sorts of different ways, really, because it's just your visual cues. It's just a way to segment things in your mind as you're clearing an area. So you can use it in an L-shaped hallway as well, right? Well, I tried to cut that one in too close, right? So as you're coming up, right? As I'm coming up, I'm holding this narrow angle that I can see, right? And then I'm not gonna come off as much from the corner as I would a doorway. So the doorway, you kind of like sweep around, you have a much more like wider sweeping angle like this. With this, you're not gonna go out as far because you want to stay a little bit closer to this wall because this is like your hard point, this is cover. So as I come up, I might step off a little bit, right? But as I come up, I'm gonna come out this way and clear this, right? And so this 90 is where things start to change a little bit, but you can kind of roll straight into it. I mean, you can, if you wanted, either push across, right? So as you come up, you're sweeping and then you're getting straight down here, right? This is your 90, the whole wall. Or once you get to here, you can wait for a buddy. You can run the rabbit across. You could double peak this, so like one high, one low, one ultra low if you wanted to go for like prone. It's usually more of an outdoor thing, but I mean, you can change everything up. It doesn't have to be the same thing every time. You can use it there, right? Or let's say that I'm looking through a window. Let's say this is my window to the indoors of something, right? So like, let's say that I'm patrolling and I come up to this window. This edge of this window is my apex, right? So as soon as I have eyes on the window, I'm looking through the window into this near corner back here, right? And so as I'm coming up to the window, I might step out a little bit from the window if I'm patrolling through like next to a building or something, and I'll pie the window, right? So I'm coming out and I'm making sure that nothing's coming through that window. I'm not going to be engaged from the window. And it's the same thing. I'm visually looking through and I'm hitting points, right, with my eyes and my muzzle as I go through, right? So I'm here, boom, okay. You know, you can use pieing in so many different scenarios, and really, it's just a way to use the apex of hard points to clear areas. That's really all it is. At the very base of it, it is using the apex of a hard point to rotate your eyes, muzzle, and awareness off of to clear an area. One thing I will say about performing this function is you want to make sure that you don't get complacent and you don't dead space. I'll show you here really quick. All right, so I'm going to go over briefly what I meant by slicing the pie, kind of show you what it looks like, and then kind of what dead spacing is. And I have this doorway in a corner to kind of show you briefly what it will look like when it comes to using it elsewhere, right? So let's kind of go into this. So if I'm headed up to this doorway, right? I'm here, my muzzle is trained on the apex of that hard point, right? So I'm coming up, and then I'm giving myself space off the wall, and then I'm clearing up, I'm breaking that 90, right? I'm clearing with my eyes and my muzzle. My eyes and my muzzle are leading everything, right? So I want to make sure that I'm not overexposing myself to the fatal funnel, right? So everything is getting cleared with my eyes and my muzzle first. That's kind of why I'm leaning over a little bit, because I want to lead with that. I don't want to lead with my foot or lead with my elbow or anything like that. You want to make sure you're tucked in and are not. Also, you want to make sure that the reason why we're giving ourselves that space off of the fatal funnel and off the apex is because let's say I come up here right here and I go like this. What happens, or what could happen, right? I have no idea what's on the other side of this wall, right? All of a sudden, what if my muzzle's getting grabbed, right? That's a big no-no for me, right? So that's why we give ourselves space off the wall and follow that apex around, all right? Now this is a doorway, right? Let's move it back over to here. So right here I have a corner, right, that I'm not really sure what's going on. Now for this, obviously, I can actually see what's ahead of me. So we're just going to pretend this is a hallway. It's actually a staircase. But as I'm coming up, it's the same thing. I'm just using this apex as a place to rotate my vision and my muzzle awareness off of, right? So I'm here and boom, and I've broken the 90 and I've cleared this hallway, right? I can get up here and I can wait for a teammate and we can run the rabbit. I can pop it high. I can get down and I can pop it low, right? There's lots of ways to take corners, right? So that's just one other scenario, right? And you can also imagine, like, let's say this was a window, right? Let's just say this was a window. If this is a window, I'm coming up, I'm giving myself that, I'm clearing what I can see through the window, using the apex and rolling around. It's the same thing on this side, right? Indoors we're always wall body weapon. So I'm here, I'm using the apex closest to me, the hard point closest to me, and I'm moving off of it, right? So I've cleared everything else. So those are just some basic considerations. Now, when we're talking about dead spacing, right? So dead spacing is any time that your muzzle, right, is not trained off the apex, right? So if I bring my muzzle down, right? If I'm at the high ready or low ready, whatever, right? If I'm down here, I'm dead spacing, right? If I'm right here, I'm dead spacing, right? So, and what that means is, I'll kind of show you. So like, if you're trained on the muzzle, right? And the muzzle's on the apex, you're good. But if the muzzle's here at the wall before I get in to do my lean in, then I'm not, this is dead spacing because I'm not aimed at an area where the enemy or whoever I'm going after or whatever I'm clearing, like I'm not covering the actual danger area, right? So whether I'm here, whether my muzzle's here, right? If I'm not totally trained on where someone can actually come out of, where I can actually engage, that's dead spacing. So I just wanted to clear that up. Those are kind of like, again, the basic considerations. Slicing the pie is easy. Just find the apex, rotate your aim off of that and your vision off of that, and go through it. Now, the last actual consideration that I will cover, and it's a bit, I mean, it's not any more complex, but when you're talking about slicing the pie, right, there's also there's the horizontal challenge of it, right? But there's also a vertical challenge of it, which really gets overlooked a lot for some reason, and I don't really know why. But you want to make sure that basically, like, once you've come through here, right, and you've cleared the room, you want to also make sure that, like, after you're through pieing, you check down really quick, which is kind of like an entry thing, but I'm just going to include it because I feel like it's worth talking about. Because if this is booby trapped and you didn't look, if there's a wire running across or anything, like if there's something you can spot, it would probably behoove you to spot it, right? So just take the extra second. Don't be so hyper focused here that you don't take a quick second to just look down real quick, right? Just give yourself that time. You have some time, right? You're here, boom, like check it out. Do yourself that favor, right? So so those are the basic considerations when it comes to actually slicing the pie. Now, your movement inside slicing the pie is also like a factor, right? So I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. So when you're the movement portion of it, right? When you're moving up to this doorway, I'm in kind of like my combat stance. I'm leaned over a little bit. I'm leaned into my weapon. I'm here. I'm using the apex, and you can see that I'm over, and I'm not crossing my feet up. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that because something could happen where I get off balance, and it's really easy for me to be off balance here, much more easily than it is if I'm here, if I'm in my combat stance and I'm just walking forward, right? So as I'm going forward, right, I'm leaning over and I'm trying to turn my body a little bit, right, so I can expose my plates, get them forward, and move off of that. It's not going to be perfect, but I would rather lead with my eyes and my muzzle and expose less of myself than be off balance and trying to clear some of these hard angles with exposing myself first, right? So for example, like if you're seeing me, right, if I'm doing this, right, you see my whole leg before I'm even seeing you guys, right? I'm exposed, right? It needs to be eyes and muzzle first. It needs to be here, not here, right? It needs to be leaned in, right? But once you leaned in, don't backstep, don't cross your legs, don't do this. Always forward. Be moving forward, or at the very, very worst case scenario, if you're like one-man room clearing and you want to take it a little bit slower, you can come in and you can do one of these, right? But I'm leading with my muzzle. Try not to do that if you don't have to. It's the last thing you want to do because you're basically stalling in the fatal funnel, right? If you start taking contact, it might be something that you do. You just try not to do it because once you start slowing yourself down in this particular area, it's not a good thing. And mostly because this is not cover. This is not cover. Like if I start doing this right here and like they see me or they hear me or whatever, and they start spamming or they start just putting rounds through this, I'm getting hit. Like this is not stopping anything. So take that into consideration when you're going through that fatal funnel and when you're pieing and when you're getting ready to make entry and all those factors, man. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. I will see you guys for Weapons Wednesday tomorrow. Thanks for all the love and support, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for sharing. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, check out the Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. I'm trying to get out everywhere so I can get as much of this information out to as many people as I can. Or if you guys haven't gone to the YouTube yet, please head over there. Support the channel. Thanks again. Love you guys. Stay safe. Stay loose. Battle on. And if you bitch in your heart, it'll show.